Hey everyone, welcome back to the weekly Astro forecast for today, the 24th, going into next week, the 2nd of March. I'm also going to highlight the 3rd of March because we've got a lunar eclipse coming up, you guys. So let me know where you are watching this from and what you're up to today on this beautiful day. So, of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe here at the Beyond Mystic platform on YouTube. You can find that under Jean Claude Beyond Mystic 003. And of course, also on Rumble here. There are a lot of awesome shows, so make sure you check them out as well. And if you guys want to book in a reading, then of course you can find that at the Beyond Mystic consultation page. And you can use Beyond Mystic as a coupon code to get 10% off. So let's start the week ahead. I've got a lot to share with you guys. It is absolutely fantastic. It is a very, very interesting week ahead. And hi, Linda from Indiana. And we have Love Warrior from South Africa. Hi, Love Warrior. And also Jana from Belgium. Hey, Miss Invisible. Sorry that I'm saying your name because you're like invisible. Okay, so welcome all of you guys. Yeah, this week ahead, it's going to be pretty interesting. Um, there is a build-up towards a lunar eclipse in the sign of Virgo. We're going to see that happening on the 3rd of March. But the big headliner is, of course, Mars is going to square off with Uranus on the 28th. Already very palpable right now. On the 27th, it's going to be exact, but on the 28th is also going to be a very, very important day, and I'm going to tell you guys why. And of course, I couldn't choose for like the biggest headliner as we're also having a Mercury retrograde in the sign of Pisces. So yeah, the past returns with Mercury retrograde in Pisces, and then with Mars square Uranus, it's like the unpredictable future knocks on our doors, and our nervous system can be like, please, can we not do both at the same time? So it can feel a little bit overwhelming, honestly. Seeing these interesting combinations play out, there's definitely a lot of shakeup and a lot of shakeups that are going to be reminding us of the past. There can be a little bit of like reminiscing going on as well. So yeah, hey Stain, and we have 4 times Aries. Hi S Hartley, how are you doing? And we also have Marsha Hicks. Thank you guys also much for joining and for all the love in the chat. So all right, yeah. This week, universe is basically saying like, okay, we are in this Pisces fog, and within the Pisces fog, we can touch or like stumble upon like a live electrical wire. So yeah, good luck with that. It is a little bit surprising, a little bit unstable the week ahead, and of course, you guys, we are in eclipse portal. So we saw the first solar eclipse in the sign of Aquarius that happened on the 17th of February, and now we are in the eclipse portal up until the 3rd of March, when we are going to see a full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Virgo. So if you have planets, angles, important degrees around 12 degrees of Virgo, then you're definitely like in the direct line of fire, and you're definitely up for like a very emotional culmination that is about to come forth of this. Very important for the mutable signs as well, the full moon lunar eclipse, and of course that's Pisces, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Gemini. If you're one of those signs, then you're gonna really feel the lunar eclipse. So let me know if you already like feel the energy, and let me know if you guys are having these unpredictable changes, because eclipse portals, they are very, very big fate accelerators. So of course Aquarius is about like a lot of unexpected things coming up. It made it square to Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius. And now we have this full moon lunar eclipse coming up in Virgo. And the pretty interesting part about that is that the ruler of the lunar eclipse in Virgo is, of course, Mercury. Mercury belongs to Virgo. And guess what? Mercury is retrograde in the sign of Pisces. He's not only in fall in Pisces, but he's also in detriment. So, and it's retrograde. That is like a triple doses of feeling like our heads are a little bit lost in space, and Mercury does not like to be in the sign of Pisces, although it is very good for like spiritual practices. But surely it is not the most easy energy that we're dealing with right here. And of course, I'm going to do a whole video about the full moon lunar eclipse, but still, the fact that Mercury is retrograde in the sign of Pisces, it can feel like we're all collectively a bit lost in space, and it can feel like we are all a little bit drunk and a bit tired. It can feel quite exhausting with the Mercury retrograde in the sign of Pisces that deals over our intuition. It is like this collective, vast, cosmic ocean of intuition and feelings and past life memory coming back up as well. So, yeah, Mercury is about communicating, and Pisces is about our emotions. And we are all not taught well how to communicate about our emotions. Unless you're born with a Mercury and Pisces like me, then you have like bonus points for this Mercury retrograde. There's definitely going to be a very, very big shift for you then. Or if you have other, of course, planets in Pisces, that is going to be very, very important. So take notice of what happens and what comes up. If people from the past return during this time, they might need some closure. Maybe they're going to come up to you and there's going to be some kind of important conversation. It can even be people from a past life with the sign of Pisces. And Mercury is communication, but Pisces is also about like being connected all together. So there can be telepathic communication going on right now, you guys. So let me know if you notice strange things going on. I definitely have. Like, for example, and I've told Stain in the chat yesterday when I was like arriving at my home, my boyfriend's car was parked nearby the site, and I've parked my car right beside him, and I saw that his lights were on. So I immediately phone called him and like, oh my god, your lights are on, you're gonna have like your battery is gonna die, so you need to come immediately. And as soon as he picked up the phone, the lights went out. And I was looking at him and like calling with him. And I was like, this is like so weird. So many strange, weird technological stuff is going on right now. And of course, Aquarius belongs to like technology belongs to Aquarius. But of course, Mercury retrograde is very notoriously known for having these weird, like, mishaps or technological issues, and I've been definitely noticing that in a rather strange way. And one would expect that his battery died and that is why his lights went off, but no, his battery was fine. So very strange, unexplainable things going on. And Pisces, of course, also the sign of miracles. So, yeah, that is definitely going to be the higher manifestation of this Mercury retrograde. But because Mercury is in its fall and detriment, it's also going to be about deceit and lies, and a lot of liars are about to get exposed in a very profound way. Spiritual bypassing is going to get like very big unveiled, and a lot of revelations are going to come forth of this one. Yeah, Pisces, it is like we cannot explain it with our words. That is why it's difficult, because Pisces is what is felt, what is our intuition, and Mercury is logic, and he likes the facts, and he's like not getting any. So yeah, it is a rather interesting retrograde that we are about to have here. And I'm gonna quickly read the comments here, as so many of you guys are also sharing your stories here. And um Anita, I want to comment on that. Like, me and the other volunteers are exhausted and confused about our next steps forward. Well, exhaustion and confusion, it's going to be part of the game over the next 3 to 4 weeks, because Mercury, it is our brain, it is how we function, how we process, how we communicate, and in Pisces that gets dissolved. So we can all feel collectively a little bit more tired, honestly. And if we are not drawing up our boundaries strong enough, then we can feel very, very exhausted. And actually, volunteering and humanitarianism and like the underdog and people who are suffering, that is all intertwined with Aquarius and most definitely Pisces. Pisces is the people who are in need of help. And Pisces also rules over our savior martyrdom dynamics. So if you are being confronted with your savior complex right now, that could mean like it's actually confronting you so that you become more aware of how you are actually helping others out too much instead of like filling your own cup. And I think Anita here, it is beautiful what you do. And if you volunteer, I think that is so heartwarming, but it's going to be very, very important to fill our own cup first in the next couple of weeks. Otherwise, we can head straight into a burnout because Pisces just dissolves all of the logic and we can feel very, very confused with this energy. And yeah, Ida Louise says Mercury retrograde is very much up for mischief here, losing signal and internet disturbances, among other things. Yeah, that is a combination of the eclipse in Aquarius and now this Mercury retrograde. I've also bumped into like sites that weren't working, of like just like weird technological stuff that is like absolutely like impossible. And like Pisces rules over like miracles and the impossible, and now that gets like possible in a weird kind of sense. So yeah, crazy dreams, Michael. Yes, of course, Pisces is the sign that rules over our dreams, and Mercury is also the messenger of the gods. So, in a more beautiful manifestation, it can definitely be about getting these beautiful synchronicities and a lot of positive omens and messages from our ancestors or spirit guides through our dreams right now. So, the biggest advice here for this Mercury retrograde is to actually keep a dream journal and to take some time to actually do a vision board. Do like make a vision board how you want to see yourself or where you want to see yourself over the next couple of weeks or even months. And that is definitely the more beneficial energy here of this Mercury retrograde. So yeah, let's start the first day here. I'm quickly going to, yes. Before we start into the week ahead, last week I've talked about a bit about binaural beats, and a lot of you guys, I saw it in the comments, were asking for the specific ones. So here you can take a screenshot because, of course, Aquarius rules over our nervous system. Then the full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo is about our physical health. And then Mercury retrograde is like our brain is like going haywire right now. So it would be very, very positive to really tune into these beats. All of the frequency music is going to help you immensely. I've listed here the one that I use for when I need to focus, when I feel stressed, and when I cannot fall asleep. And honestly, they have been helping me immensely. So yeah, funky dreams. Yeah, expect more of that, Stain. It's only going to kick off here on the 25th of February at night for the States, and then on the 26th for Europe. So yeah, let's start this week's forecast. So of course today we have the moon here in Gemini, and it's squaring off with the whole Pisces stellium. So that feels a little bit unstable. There is like mental overstimulation. And then that is like in conflict with our emotional universal truth. So do not go doom scrolling because the moon in Gemini wants the facts, information. Gemini is also the sign of duality. So there can be multiple sides to the story, multiple narratives that people are checking out, but it's actually clashing with the whole Pisces stellium here, and I would advise you to not go doom scrolling, do not try to overanalyze, also not tomorrow, because the moon will then also still be in Gemini. And there can be a lot of confusing news coming out, a lot of debates, of course, also about our health system, and new data being released, and that being like actually in clash with the whole universal truth of Pisces. So yeah, Gemini, it is of course Mercury's territory, because Mercury here in Pisces, it belongs to Gemini, and the moon today is like squaring that off, and it's going to still continue to do that tomorrow. So that is like not the best time to try to find clarity and answers. It's mutable energy. We need to be extra flexible right now, and there can be like, it's like the collective mind with Pisces and Mercury there, it is getting like overstimulated with news and all these hot takes, and there can be like competing versions of reality also going on. So yeah, you can brainstorm, you can network, you can research, but be careful of like mental overload and jumping to conclusions as well. If we check at the 25th, we see that then tomorrow the moon will make an exact square to Mercury at 22 degrees. And 22 degrees is actually a critical Capricorn degree. It is actually the killed or be killed degree. So it's rather intense tomorrow. We can even have news, Gemini, about the female, the moon. We also see Venus here, and Mercury is news. We can have some pretty intense news going on, and it can be in regards to a very prominent female figure. Yeah, it's going to be important to take notice of that, because whatever comes up now, before Mercury actually decides or like switches to its retrograde motion, that is going to be like a continuation of the entire story for the next couple of weeks. So also in your personal life, really look at what's happening. And also tomorrow, Black Moon Lilith is going to square off with the Sun and the North Node exact. That is like intense. Lilith is like, I am not going to perform or believe in something or a belief system that is not mine, and she's going to rebel against that. Like, perfect, because just what we need with the Mars about to square off with Uranus here as well. There is like so much rebellious energy in the sky this week. It is actually quite profound. Yeah, this can really be about like media truth bombs coming out, and it's going to confuse a lot of people, and we can already feel that a lot of people are getting disillusioned right now with Saturn and Neptune together, and there's like a lot of uncertainty, and I feel like people are feeling a little bit wonky and not sure where they are headed in the future, and that can definitely be this very big theme. And of course, Saturn and Neptune is also like, Saturn is about the government rules, people in a top position, and Neptune dissolving all of that. Yeah, just know that this kicks off a whole new 36-year cycle. So over the next few months, this will continue to play out. So that is going to be ruffling a lot of feathers. Also, if you then look, the mind wants clarity here with the moon in Gemini, but Pisces, it's only going to like give us clues through symbols and omens, and not like on a piece of paper. It's like not all black and white right now, and we can definitely all feel that. So be careful, guys, by misreading messages or misinterpreting the news, Gemini, or like lost emails. Like whenever Mercury is in Pisces, every mercurial aspect is getting lost in space. So losing your emails or not finding them again, or misunderstanding the tone, or like a lot of people are going to be like, okay, but that's not exactly what I meant. And of course, Pisces, it also rules over our perception. We all have our own truths, but with Mercury here retrograde, there is like a distortion going on within our perceptive, like within our perception, and we all have our own truth, and now there's like causing massive confusion here over the next couple of weeks. So yeah, you do not have all the pieces just yet. Don't force conclusion. Just wait, actually, until the real new year, the equinox, when every season starts on the 20th of March, then Mercury is going to station back direct. So, because I've been talking so much about Mercury already, let's really look at the exact day that it is going to station retrograde. And that is at night on the 25th for the States, but on the 26th here for Europe and other parts of our Earth. So, pause, slow down. There is like, the past is going to be very, very active again. And Pisces, it is past lives. So, a lot of repressed emotions, repressed thoughts that we thought that we dealt with are going to come back up again. So do not be too hard on yourself. It is actually a rather difficult time now. Yeah, it is like, it is famous, of course, for like technical issues and also canceled flights, and like aviation is definitely going to be a problem here, because Pisces, it is a global sign, and Mercury is about travel, mostly about short distance travel. But in the sign of Pisces, it becomes global travel, and like global trade is going to be an immense theme over the next couple of weeks. But be careful with Mercury retrograde. There is like a bigger emphasis also on getting sick, because of course Pisces deals with our immune system, and Mercury retrogrades are always notoriously known for feeling a little bit under the weather. So take extra care for yourself right now. You might also like need to fix your car. That is like also very common for a Mercury retrograde. But definitely, if we look at Pisces being a global sign, and Mercury, it deals with documents, we can see here that Mercury is going to go retrograde over Venus. And Venus deals with money. Venus deals with love and relationships, but on a mundane level, it deals with diplomatic agreements. So Venus is diplomatic, Mercury is agreements or documents in the sign of Pisces getting dissolved. Mercury retrograde being reviewed right now. And of course, Pisces, it is what like flows over borders. It is the flow of goods, Mercury, that is getting interrupted or is getting dissolved in some kind of way. Along the Mercury retrograde, we are going to see that first it conjunct Venus. After that, it's going to conjunct the Sun, which can be a very big moment of clarity. We're going to see that on the 7th of March. That can be a very big revelation. But then on March 15th, Mercury will be conjunct Mars here. And that is going to be about conflicts at sea, like in a very, very big kind of way. Naval conflicts, maritime law. And look, it makes a trine to Jupiter. And Jupiter deals with law and legality. We are going to see a whole new set of rules being installed by the Mercury retrograde, and it's going to cause issues at sea and borders. Pisces is what flows over borders. It deals with the sea. When Mercury and Mars are going to be on top of each other on the 15th of March, we are going to see very, very big conflicts at sea. And aviation or like airplanes, that can also get disrupted here, and we are actually already seeing that play out with everything that is going on in Mexico right now with the drug cartels. I know Canada Airlines has canceled the flights towards Mexico, and we might see more of the same stuff getting out in those regards. So, on a more personal level, just know that Mercury retrograde is not a punishment. It is a very big cycle of revision. And this is a very big psychological reset. It's a spiritual recalibration. And it can also serve as like an unconscious emotional truth serum that is about to get handed to you by the universe. Your intuition right now, it is getting louder than your logic. So you're not meant to have all the answers right now. You're actually meant to feel your way to the truth. But because Mercury deals with facts and like schedules and like this linear thinking, that can all get rather interrupted right now. So if you have appointments, if you have a busy schedule, be flexible. Pisces is a mutable sign. There's going to be a lot of changes. But definitely, the collective unconscious is getting a massive reboot here within their thinking. So we're like going from like this spreadsheet mode, which Mercury normally deals with, to like being a little bit all collectively drunk and being a little bit confused. And be extra careful while driving, you guys. Like with everyone being drunk, Mercury rules over driving, and it's at 22 degrees, the kill or be killed degree. I think we're also going to see a rather intense accident being listed or announced in major headlines. And maybe that is where the woman or like the female here, there can be like a major car crash with a famous female. That is one of the astrological potentials that I'm seeing here. But definitely on a personal level, old stories are going to be returning, past life stories even. It is a time where information needs to be corrected, and that all the things that were hidden are going to resurface. And a lot of liars are going to be exposed, and a lot of narratives are getting dissolved as well. So this is a very, very big shift in awareness. Can be very therapeutic. If you are an artist or within the healing arts, then you can feel very inspired, creative, definitely very beneficial to tap into meditation during this time. And the wheel is getting thinner, you guys. Look at this entire Pisces stellium. We are like in eclipse portal, but also in the Pisces portal. So that is rather magnificent, honestly. Miracles can happen. However, use your discernment, but do not be afraid if something happens to you that seems too good to be true, because Saturn is crystallizing Neptune's dreams right now. So it's not all doom and gloom. There are, on a personal level, there can be very, very magnificent things coming through right now. So if you need therapy, if you have a little bit anxiety, you can have immense breakthroughs right now as well. But as an artist, you can really like receive your next vision, or you can meet a very destined, the North Node, new muse that really inspires you. And it's also going to give us the ability, now that Saturn and Neptune are out of Pisces, to really forgive yourself or someone else for something that you've actually carried for years. And these can be the persons or like the people that can come onto your path right now to actually remingle, to get forgiveness in some kind of way. And Pisces, it is about compassion, but be careful not to give your energy away to trying to save someone who is struggling with substance abuse or is in denial or escapism, because you're going to get very exhausted and you're not going to get that energy back easily. Because the shadow side of Pisces is, of course, as we all already know, with Saturn and Neptune that have been operating there for so many years, it is illusion, projection, escapism, emotional overwhelm, and beautiful distractions like having your rose colored glasses on and not being able to see the truth. But Saturn was actually refraining the truth. But now that these two are out of it, this is going to be the very first Mercury retrograde that we're going to have without Saturn limiting all the Pisces qualities. So also look back to last year, to Pisces season, because last year we had a Mercury retrograde also in the sign of Pisces, and we also had a full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo. That was on the 14th of March. So whatever themes that got triggered during that time, that can be brought up again right now. And it can be in a totally different way that that happens, but still it's going to, in essence, carry the same core themes. So it's like the universe is saying, like, last year you didn't really listen, you didn't really tap into your intuition, you weren't reflective enough. So we're gonna try to teach it to you again. And now we can, like, we have more knowledge. We have more of like, we've already been through that last year. So now we can pass the Mercury retrograde test a bit better during this time. So if something beautiful happened, which is very, very possible last year, then that can like now also see a continuation within its story. So really think for yourself, or like go look in your emails or in your phone or what you were posting on social media, and that is going to refresh your memory, because in Pisces sometimes our memory gets a little bit lost in space, so it can be a little bit harder to really rewind back to that exact moment right now. And Stain says snow is disrupting thousands of flights in the northeast of the US. Yes, exactly. And it's not going to get any better, honestly. Of course, extreme weather. That is also because we see Uranus right here at 27 degrees. Mars is going to make an exact square to that on the 27th. But Uranus is about shakeups. Really difficult things. They bring things into awareness, but they shake up, they disrupt. It is about surprises and shocks, and it's in the sign of Taurus, and Taurus deals with Mother Earth and also our body. But with Mars squaring Uranus, there can also be a very, very big emphasis on earthquakes and volcanoes and the tectonic plates that are getting triggered and the ring of fire and all of that. We're gonna see the most extreme weather from now until Uranus switches over into Gemini, and it's gonna do that on the 25th, the 26th of April, depending on where you live in the world. So the next couple of months is gonna be a little bit more intense. Also, of course, Uranus is about awareness. Taurus about our Mother Earth. We've became so much more aware about geoengineering, about what pesticides they're spraying also on our food or like injecting in our food, the mRNA technology of the vaccines that they're actually been injecting in our food, like fast fashion and how that is actually destroying the world, and how all the little kids are being forced to work for your $5 t-shirt and all of that. Uranus, it brings things to ahead. It brings things into our awareness. But now that we're wrapping up this final last degrees, that is becoming very, very unstable. And it's been in Taurus since 2018. So that's why the entire world, our entire Earth, Taurus, has been feeling so unstable. Another thing, you guys, is that Taurus deals with our finances. So the next couple of months, we're going to see a lot of dramatic changes within our fiat currency system. A lot of currencies are going to completely devaluate. Uranus also deals with cryptocurrencies. That's also why we are seeing such a major dip right now. That was also because Venus was squaring off with Uranus. And honestly, you guys, during Aquarius season, we saw all the planets one by one leaving Aquarius, and before they left, they all squared Uranus. So first Venus did that, then Mercury, then the Sun, and now we have the last one. We are saving the best for last. We have Mars, the planet of war, conflict, and asserting oneself in a very rebellious Uranus kind of way. Yeah, this is going to be like a bomb that goes off, and that can be literal, figuratively in your life. Mars deals with everything that is sharp, knives, guns, bombs, everything that explodes. Uranus shakes things up, and then Mars lets things explode. So pretty intense configuration, you guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah, so with the Mercury retrograde, a lot of news that is going to ruffle a lot of feathers, like we're already seeing in Mexico. What's happening in Mexico with the drugs cartels is really a manifestation of Mars square Uranus. There isn't like a better example that I can give you guys. They're like setting everything on fire. They're blowing things up. It is getting massively out of hand. Very rebellious energy, conflictive energy. That is like the square that we're seeing here of Mars and Uranus. So yeah, okay, let's maybe tune into a more beautiful part of the Mercury retrograde here before I go more deeply into Mars square Uranus. But it makes your Mercury makes a very beautiful aspect to Jupiter, and Jupiter is within the realms of our emotions also. Like these are two water signs, and all the Mercury retrogrades this year will happen in water signs. The first one in Pisces, the second one will be in Cancer, and the last one in October will be in Scorpio. And guys, brace yourselves for the one in October because that's going to be accompanied by a Venus retrograde as well in the sign of Scorpio. And they're going to square off with the ruler Pluto. So we are already seeing a lot of changes now with the financial system, but the big blow is going to come through the end of the year during October with the Venus retrograde. So we still have time to prepare. You still have time to invest in real estate and precious metals and all of that. And of course, I am not a financial advisor, and I want to state that very, very clearly here. But Venus retrograde in Scorpio, big money, secrets, those who are in control of the money, the 1%, the powerful Venus, money, financial system, retrograde, losing its power, squaring off with Pluto, the ruler of intensity. I'm already saying it to you right now. It's gonna be ugly. So make sure that you protect whatever is precious to you in regards to your values, your money. But it's also going to be like about occult power. That is also part of Scorpio. A lot of secrets are about to get released in regards to big money, taxes, and what politicians, sign of Aquarius, the powerful Pluto are actually doing with that. And it's gonna, yeah, be a bit intense, honestly, but more about that later. I was going to highlight the beautiful energies of Mercury retrograde trining Jupiter. Okay, so if you follow right now what feels aligned, then you're actually being guided towards something better. And it can be really like past life karma coming through, and it cannot feel immediately clear, but our intuition can be so strong that we feel guided into a way more meaningful way right now. And it's in regards to connection. And yeah, Mercury retro in Pisces is like a little bit like trying to like organize the ocean with like a label marker or like with a neon yellow marker. And yeah, that is like just not gonna work. So try not to put everything in like it's hokje. How do you say it in English? Sometimes I wish I could say my Dutch sayings here, and it would make so much sense. But do not try to mark everything, do not try to understand everything, do not try to tap into the logical side. We really need to tap into our intuition. And of course, all the energies in Pisces, it is beautiful, it is sensitive. And if you've like in the last couple of days like cried when you hear the particular song, or if you had like a prophetic dream that really like baffled you, or if you have been like romanticizing your entire life, and you've also on top of all of that walked into the kitchen and you forgot why, yeah, like congratulations, because then you are likely fully participating in Pisces season right now. It is very beautiful, but sometimes it is like, yeah, just a little bit confusing. And it's really about surrendering and accepting what is going on right now. And yes, Stain, my guy from Belgium, do not try to put everything into a set box right now. And I saw a very interesting video before I came on here, and it was a lady talking about how everything is being put into boxes. But when we put things into boxes, like look at our apartments, at how our streets are divided, at like everything, your phone, whatever is like packaged, like it's all within a square or a box. But boxes keep us stuck. So we might, to help with this energy, focus on circles, on like just to like give your mind the idea that there's like an infinite process going on, and try to steer away from all of the boxes, like literally and figuratively, and really focus on like the or the eight. The eight is also like the infinitive circle, that is also very beneficial, and it can help you through the energy here. And No MGT says I'm definitely active participant of the Pisces season. That is funny. Yeah. Like I saw people really like bumping into each other in the store and just being like I saw a guy in the store and he was just like staring at the wall, and he was probably thinking about all of his groceries that he should have like gotten during that time. And I was just like saw him staring at the wall like completely lost in space, and I'm like, yeah, that man is probably a Pisces. Yeah, it is so funny. You can really recognize that. But like no judging, because I have a whole Pisces stellium, and it is beautiful if you have time to meditate and to unwind and to really be in the moment, be in the present. But if you have a lot of things to do and a busy schedule, then you can really feel like, oh man, no, not another round right now. I want to sleep. I want to hide under the covers. I want to binge watch. I want to have a glass of wine. And some are going to have a bottle of wine. I would advise you very strongly not to do that, because if you divert or escape into substance abuse, then the lower manifestations of Pisces are going to like immediately come into play, and we really want to avoid that. So, yeah, if we then look a bit more closely at the biggest day of the entire week, that is going to be the 27th. Yeah, this is going to be the last square of Mars and Uranus. So that is actually quite important here, because every time Mars and Uranus come into contact with one another, there is an there is like the same theme that is being triggered. So here, the themes are definitely like stock market volatility and cyber attack and disruptions in technology, even more highlighted with Mercury retro, protests, rebellion, earthquakes, extreme weather, sudden political escalations. And that is going to be the biggest one here. I'm going to tell you why in just a second. But on a personal level, we can feel like we want to quit something very suddenly. But I would advise you very strongly not to burn any bridges in a rather impulsive way right now. But definitely, it can be about getting unstuck, about moving forward. But there can be impulsive decisions that really lead to a shakeup. So do not go like panic selling or anything like that. The nervous system is getting triggered here very, very strongly in an adverse way with an adverse aspect. So do not shoot yourself in the foot. Do not go on like a rebellious streak just for the sake of rebellion. Avoid rushing, avoid reckless driving, and really avoid reacting from anger, because that is going to burn bridges. And yeah, just know that emotional safety, it can exist even within the chaos. We need to tune back into the Pisces energy. If we feel overwhelmed, well, we just press the play button with our binaural beats. We take a few breaths. Breath work is gonna save us from like the intense anger that is gonna get triggered here. And also know that like don't multitask with machinery. We have Mercury at 22 degrees, a critical degree, about getting hurt. We have a Mars square Uranus that is very impulsive, unpredictable, surprising, shocking energy that is coming off of this. And Mars also deals with weapons and machinery. So if you're pissed off and you need to use some kind of machine at your job, you might need to take a couple of breaths before you do that, because Mars, the energy is getting like very, very hot burnt, and it needs to be channeled in some kind of way. It's going to come through. And if we are being too impulsive, too aggressive, if we are not finding a healthy outlet for this aspect, then it's going to manifest through us like hurting ourselves. And that is something that we need to be really, really mindful about. This is the aspect for like severe accidents. And like honestly, I was hurrying up before I started the show, and I went quickly downstairs, and I almost like slipped off the stairs. And I was like, oh my god, I almost fell off the stairs. I need to like take a couple of breaths. But of course, I am an Aries, and Mars it is my planet, so it's having a bigger implication for me. But if you're a Scorpio or an Aries or an Aquarius, then this one is going to be pretty intense for you. So work out, go to the gym, find a physical outlet, fight your pillow if you need to, but try to really direct your anger in something that is going to help you to be unstuck, to break free. This is the last aspect between Mars and Uranus, as long as Uranus will be in Taurus. So it's like the final closing square. It is very important. It's like the very big last final chance in 84 years to break free within your own Aquarius and Taurus house, within your own natal chart. So look where this plays out for you. It's going to be a lot of energy, and we are already feeling it quite strongly. And stain, yes. Oh, this is so beautiful. Alcohol is spirits, yes, like the old Hebraic, how do you say it? Hebrewic word, like Hebrew. Oh my God, this Mercury retrograde. So alcohol, it means the devil. So that is also one of the reasons why I never drink. And that might sound a little bit boring, but I am a Virgo rising. I like to keep things sober, and I'm about purity. And also, I struggled with my health back in the day. So I do not like drinking at all, but I also do not like how it changes people. It's like there's some kind of, when people are really drunk, you can see like a darkness in their eyes. It's like their color just like disappears, it fades away, it gets dissolved, sign of Pisces. And then the unseen realms that we are not looking for, because I'm also talking about like the unseen realms and how beautiful all of that is, but we need to be very mindful that in Pisces there are also like unseen realms that are not so amazing, honestly. And when we drink alcohol, we tap into like the spirits that are like not being able to cross over, or who are still lingering here on earth, and then they form an attachment to our energetic field, and then we are effed. And then it's very difficult to get rid of them. So yeah, it's one of the reasons I really do not like alcohol, honestly. But more on Mars square Uranus here. We can have like this whole collective energy of like, I am so done again, and like it is like ongoing right now, and it's gonna get triggered again here, and it is a very big signature for people are getting like pissed off, and they're gonna express their anger in a rather shocking way. So look at Mexico. Like they killed El Mencho, the top dog of like the drug cartels, and now they're all striking back. Mexico, it was a little bit to be expected, and I was actually going to talk about that in my full moon lunar eclipse video. But Mexico has a Virgo rising, and so does Lebanon. Yeah, it is just like we are now in such a critical turning point of this cycle, and this cycle has been building since 2018. It is the last closing square. So that means whenever Mars and Uranus come together on top of each other, we call that a conjunction. Then we see the first opening square when they make a square aspect. Then we see the opposition when they oppose one another. And then we see the final closing square before our next conjunction in another sign. That will be in Gemini, and that will be on the 4th of July. It will be already into play, or like exact on the 2nd of July, but I'm mentioning the 4th of July very specifically for you guys who are watching from the States, because Mars and Uranus together, that in itself is already like fireworks. And I know there's like a 250-year anniversary, and there's going to be a lot of fairs and a lot of things to do and a lot of crowds together. We're gonna see some intense things playing out in crowds, and also right now. So I would strongly advise you to not go protesting right now. There can be it can go wrong rather quickly, like in the blink of an eye. Mars square Uranus, that is like going from 0 to 100 real quick. So we need to be a little bit more careful right now. The 4th of July is the first conjunction of Mars and Uranus in the sign of Gemini. The news, our neighborhood, our cars, and yeah, it is actually going to be fireworks. So I will not advise you to even like light fireworks during that time. But more on that later, of course. And it is also like Uranus is conjunct demon star Algol, and that is about also losing one's head. And then we have Mercury at the 22nd degree, or the killed or to be killed degree. So I think we're gonna see, yeah, another rather intense passing here. It is very strongly indicated. But on a more personal level, Mars is like the activator, Uranus is the liberator, and when they meet in a very harsh aspect, they deliver like electric frequencies. It's like about lightning strikes, and it's really disrupting or like shaking up what is unstable so that we can actually free ourselves from it. Like, this is very non-negotiable energy, and it is about change, whether you're ready or not. We can really see a very big pattern interrupt right now. Anything that felt like resistant to change or like fixed or stuck in some kind of way, that can no longer remain the same. So look at your own Aquarius and Taurus houses, because that is really, really important right now. This is like the final big breakthrough, a window of time when we can really release the past. And we're already doing that so strongly here with Saturn and Neptune right now. But this is definitely going to bring big surges of rebellion. It's going to bring civil unrest, shocks in technology, volatility in the market, seismic activity, and a lot of sudden explosive events. So, yeah, Mars is very raw. It is about heat, it's about ignition, and Uranus is really about like electronic frequencies and our awareness that is being boosted. So, the entire atmosphere, because Uranus and Aquarius, they deal with what flies through our sky. So yeah, Mars's bombs. We're gonna see strikes on Iran. That is like almost 100% given certainty here in the chart, unfortunately. But on a personal level, it is about liberation, because we cannot like tolerate the old conditioning anymore right now. So we are being pushed to really act differently, and we are actually breaking free from like fear and control systems. So yeah, we must evolve. And of course, one of the main reasons why these squares have been so volatile for the past 2 years, that is because Pluto, the planet of destruction and power and control, he's in a sign of Aquarius. So Uranus belongs to Aquarius. So it is dispositing back to Pluto. So Mars and Pluto in Aquarius and all talking to one another right here. This is like very important. And of course, this brings in Trump's chart, and I'm actually going to go ahead a bit in time here. I'm going to switch here to March the 1st for Trump's chart, because the most important thing here is that the last conjunction of Mars and Uranus on top of each other, that was actually during the rally in Pennsylvania. So the cycle, the Mars Uranus cycle that we are now in until the 4th of July 2026, it got kicked off on July 15th, 2024. So Algol is also about like losing one's head, decapitation. So yeah, he was shot in the ear. So very literal like manifestation of this energy. And what we're seeing happening here is very intense for this chart. We see Mars also like at the exact same degree of the solar eclipse. It is actually opposing his natal Mars. So Mars opposite Mars is always about confrontations. It's on the descendant, open enemies, allies, very big reassessment, reviewing within his allies and the contracts that he signed, diplomatic contracts. It's within the seventh house. Destined changes with the North Node, with solar figures, heads of states, presidents, people in a very important leadership position. The square to Uranus, wow, there is like such a big T square here. From Mars to Uranus, from Uranus to Mars. And when there is a T square, we can feel like T-boned. Something unexpectedly comes up that like throws us out of balance or center. And it's very strongly indicated here for this chart. What's interesting is that Israel also has its Mars at 28 degrees of Leo. So they have Mars conjunct Mars. So on March the 1st, and Mars conjunct Mars of like Trump and Israel, it shows that they're like just like friends in combat. So on March the 1st, during the night time, the moon is going to make a square with Uranus, and it will highlight his Mars, it will highlight his body, it will oppose Mars. I think we're going to see a very big strike on Iran. Because last year, like on June 2025, then we saw the opening square of Mars and Uranus. And that is when we saw like the war that took place for like 10 days, and where the US bombed Iran's nuclear facilities. So now we are seeing the closing square. So it's baked into the Mars Uranus cycle for sure. So I wanted to like highlight that and how that's being like seen or witnessed within the astrology chart. I also want to mention, now that I'm thinking about it, is that the US Sibley chart, so the astrological mundane chart for the states, they have their moon at 26 degrees and 58 minutes of Aquarius. So Mars is on top of that right now. Uranus is squaring that. So yeah, that is also causing major unstable energy, massive change, massive protest, accidents, and a lot of exposure and revelations within the media, because the US has the moon in the third house, which rules communication. And the moon is the people. And they are like being pissed off right now with Mars on top of the moon. It is very conflictive energy right now. So I also wanted to highlight that. Then, as if that is all not enough already, like, how are you guys doing? Is it not too intense what I'm all mentioning here? I know this is a rather uncertain time, but it's all astrologically destined, and we're going to get through it together, and we are all here to support one another. But I definitely do not want to install fear upon all of you. But yeah, it is just a rather intense time. So on the 28th, we see Mercury retrograde conjunct Venus in Pisces. That is going to be a very important date in regards to like the diplomatic affairs and foreign trade and all of that being changed immensely. And also, what I forgot to mention for the US chart right now, Mars in Aquarius, that is squaring off with Uranus. Mars is in the ninth house of foreign countries, and Mars is conflict and war. That is also another confirmation why I'm saying these things about strikes on Iran. So, to continue here with the 28th, that is actually the day where we see that Mars is now exactly at 28 degrees. So 28 degrees, that is the exact same degree where the solar eclipse took place on the 17th of February. And when planets conjunct the exact same degree, they're going to re-trigger the same themes, even in a more profound way here with Mars and the square to Uranus. So whatever seed that got planted during the 17th is now going to get a very big boost here of Mars. So that is also applicable for your own life, of course. So look at what happened and look at what's happening now. This is really a chance to get unstuck from the past, but be careful not to go full-blown crazy local rebellion. Pisces is delusion, Mercury retrograde. A lot of people are gonna be delusional, rebellious when I see this combo. So try to divert yourself from these people. If you were to bump into them, there might be a bit more of that in the ether right now, Pisces. So, yeah, these pyramids of Carla, they are really, really beautiful. So here we have all the pyramids from the beginners collection that are now 25% off. And these are so beautiful. You can find them at the Ascensions Organized website, and look how beautiful. And with Mars in the sign of Aquarius squaring off with Uranus, it is about protecting our frequency, because there is going to be frequency warfare pretty intensely going on now. Aquarius rules over frequencies, Mars is war. These are EMF protectors. And look how many there are of them. So it can be very, very beneficial to actually get one right now to help you protect with like the closing square of Uranus. So they are 25% off until the 7th of March. And you can use the promo code begin25 to get 25% off. So yeah, let's just all look at how that's going to be so helpful for us right now with the Aquarius eclipse as well. So very, very applicable here. So then on the 1st of March, yeah, we see a very big T square between the moon and Leo, about to make an opposition to Mars here. And that's going to make a T square to Uranus. So that is also why I said, like, we're getting T-boned this week. Something unexpected is going to come up in our finances, in our values, in our body. We might roar a bit louder, and we are way more rebellious here with Mars at the end degrees. It's at the critical 29 degree, still under the influence of squaring off with Uranus. So pretty important. And if you then look at March 2nd, that is the day before the full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Virgo. So we can see here that the moon is actually making a yacht. That is always a difficult aspect to Pluto and Neptune, Saturn. So do not try to force things. There is like a finger of fate. There's like a finger of God really pointing towards our physical health. And I feel like we're also lost in space, and our nervous system has been under so much tension that now we're being forced to look at our physical health and to also release being too critical and too harsh on ourselves. Normally, I would advise to tap into the Pisces energy, but because this is so overwhelmingly much, there are so many planets right here, we might need to look at the more positive qualities of Virgo. And these are, of course, getting like things like analyzing, organizing, making a to-do list, making a spreadsheet so you do not forget anything, as it's all getting dissolved here in Pisces. Back everything up as well. I think I forgot to mention that, but still, the yacht here to Pluto, it is not easy energy to deal with, and it's actually the entire week not very easily. Even though if we tap into meditation, then that can definitely bring us a lot of calmness and restore our balance immensely. So I'm going to highlight a little bit more about March 3rd, because then is the full moon lunar eclipse really kicking off on that exact day. So yeah, look at your own Virgo house. Which house is being triggered here by the full moon lunar eclipse? These are always times of like culminations and endings, and it can be a little bit more intense during these times, because full moons are always times of revelations and things being revealed and really emotions coming to a head, and we can cry and have an emotional release. And actually, crying is also part of Pisces, and it's actually very beneficial. We are like learned not to cry, but if we cry, that is actually a very big cortisol release, and our cortisol levels are getting triggered here by Mars square Uranus. So yeah, actually having a good cry is going to do wonders for you in the week ahead. So do not try to suppress your emotions, because otherwise our primary emotion, our anger, is going to get like the upper hand with the Mars square Uranus. Maybe we need to tune into the secondary emotion, because anger, it is always a primary emotion. It's what's been lying underneath all of that. And that is mostly rejection, being left in the cold, being too critical on ourselves, being too harsh. And that is really something that we need to release right now. The full moon lunar eclipse is conjunct the south node, and the south node is what we need to let go of in our lifetimes. So, of course, Virgo, It is about discernment, about our systems, our physical health, and I think, I'm almost sure, like we're gonna see so many revelations in the physical, like health, like medical health field. Yeah, this is like this is releasing very strongly all the health systems that are not working anymore, everything that's not sustainable. Virgo is also about our work. A lot of people are gonna be fed up with the Mars square Uranus, and they're gonna give their like severe, how do you say it? They're gonna sign their resignation letter, and they're gonna be like, "Well, F it, I'm out of here, I'm done." And that is also the full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Virgo. And yeah, this is like under big scrutiny here. And we've been through the eclipse Pisces, the eclipse axis of Pisces and Virgo for the last year and a half. But we're gonna see another full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo next year during Pisces season. So this is not the last one. I'm like seeing a lot of shamans or other like spiritual people and also astrologers all talking so much about how this is going to be the last lunar eclipse in Virgo, and how by that like the eclipse cycle is getting closed. And I'm like, guys, Mercury retrograde in Pisces, no, we're having another one next year. So I just want to state that it's not going to be the last revelations in regards to our medical health systems and health fields that is about to get released here or revealed. So more is coming in regards to that. And of course, the ruler of this eclipse is Mercury retrograde in Pisces. So there is, we need to integrate like logic and intuition, data and facts and meaning and source energy. This is about like control, Virgo, versus surrender, Pisces. And it can be a little bit more difficult, like analysis being made or compassion. Some people are going to flip into the Virgo axis, while other people are going to be completely lost in the Pisces axis. So, yeah, this is like the rational mind and the intuitive body, and that can all be like temporarily be blurred, and there is not a lot of clarity. But the deeper purpose here is to really restore alignment between our rational mind and our intuitive body. So if you're able to surrender, then that is very beautiful. Do not force. Clarity is going to arrive through a lot of reflection during this time. And then Mercury retro trining Jupiter in Cancer is going to bring a whole new set of like emotional intelligence and wisdom, and like a kind of like restoration of like universal coherence in some kind of way. And we're like all now unconsciously gathering together to find some solutions for all of the systems that are being released right now. So yeah, while we are sleeping, we are actually doing a lot of work, and we can really, really feel that during this eclipse. That is why we really need to put a lot of focus on our physical body. Virgo is really what's like grounded, what we can grasp. It is earth. It is how we take care of our bodies, physical health. So take your supplements. Maybe take some extra. Take some ashwagandha if you feel overburdened or over emotional and you feel like you cannot function anymore. Virgo is function. It is how we go out and about on a daily basis. And Pisces is more our mental health. And if that is being put under a lot of stress right now with all these Pisces placements, then we really need to help to restore the balance in that. So it's really about restoring our spiritual health with our physical health, with our conscious mind as well. So the body mind connection is very, very important to look at during this time, and it's going to help you immensely if you really take enough care and take enough rest. And if you feel overwhelmed, just like you can hide behind like under the sheets for a while, but be careful that that doesn't change in like escapism. We're gonna see a lot of people going a little bit mentally insane with this energy. I'm just like gonna say it as it is. It is the truth. People who are unaware, people who are not evolved, they're gonna act like lunatics under this energy, unfortunately. So yeah, we can hold space, but Saturn and Neptune are saying not too much. So take care of yourself. You are your number one priority. We all need to fill our own cups now. We're in Pisces season. So all right. Hi, Sabrina. Sabrina says, I'm working with my children to build good habits on healthy ways to feel and release our emotions. Yeah, this is so beautiful. You can definitely use like EFT. Do you guys know it? It's like, I think in English it's called tapping. You can tap on certain things, and then it like restores your energy circuits. And like what I've noticed that helps me a lot is actually tapping here on your third eye and like breathing in, and then you tap at your crown chakra and you breathe out. And by doing that, you can if you have a headache, you can take your third eye. If you feel like your heart is overwhelmed, you can tap here on your chest as well. And by breathing in and tapping, and by breathing out and tapping on at the like the top of your head, you're like sinking everything back together again. And it's been helping me immensely, honestly. So yeah, humming is also like humming, chanting, all very very helpful, honestly. So I think that was it for this week. Enough of the intensity, right? And if you want to know more about the Virgo full moon lunar eclipse, I'm going to post my video about that on my own Astrid channel here soon. I think within a couple of days, hopefully before Friday, otherwise Saturday. There's just so much to do. So, yeah, again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe here at the Beyond Mystic page on YouTube, and of course, also on Rumble. And if you want to book in a reading with me, then you can book in a reading. I'm booking into April, and April is actually going to be like the seventh planetary stellium in Aries. So it might be very beneficial because then it's been like a whole new set of bombs is going to come off, but definitely a very big time of like the spiritual warrior and speaking up for the things that you believe in. That is going to be like the biggest theme of April. And I'm also going to host a whole Aries season and Aries stellium workshop about that as well. So I'll let you guys know when that's available. And of course, do not forget to tune in with the beautiful Shannon. She's hosting her Beyond Healing show here tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So, everyone, thank you guys all so much for watching and for spending some time with me here today. And Dana says, I love EFT. I believe it helps. Thank you, Astrid. Yes, for me, it definitely helps a lot. And thank you guys all so much for your sweet, sweet words and for all the love in the chat. I'm looking forward to seeing you back soon for another weekly forecast. Bye bye, guys, and have a good one.